Hey guys, welcome to Pixel Talk. I'm Corbin Stuckey, and today I decided to do a little something different. Okay, so when I first made this channel, one of the reasons why I made it was so I could do reviews on movies and video games. Now when I was making those, it was just kind of a hassle to make the reviews. Just so much time was put into them. Because like some of them were like 20 minutes long, and it was kind of affecting my schoolwork. And sometimes I would post a review that was like a week after the movie came out, and it just wasn't getting that much views, and the movie wasn't that big anymore. However, I was just watching videos last night, some of my old videos on Pixel Talk. And I came across the Amazing Spider-Man 2 review, and I started watching that just for giggles, and I actually hit on some pretty good points about that movie, and I was like, I don't remember saying this at all, but my points were pretty accurate and valid towards the movie. And I don't know, I just started thinking okay, should I be doing reviews again? I don't know. So if you guys want me to do review, I'll put the link down below of the certain review I'm talking about. It's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 review. And if you guys just want to see more reviews, I'll definitely do that. So I guess this is just kind of like a little test run to see what I can do, I guess. But yeah, I started thinking of a movie that I could review, just to kind of do a test run and everything. And I started thinking what was the last movie that I saw? And I was like, I saw Taken 3 last weekend. I was like, Taken 3! I need to do a review on that. So that's basically what I'm going to do. And hopefully you guys will like it. Hopefully you'll kind of agree with me on some points. And yeah, I guess let's get started with my first review in 5 months. So what did I think of Taken 3? Well, let me first tell you guys this. So I've been filming my reactions to trailers as of late, and one of them was the Taken 3 trailer that came out, the first one, and I watched it and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool plot, I guess. I thought it looked good as a trailer, okay? I thought it looked good as a trailer. However, going into the movie, okay, I thought... I'm sorry guys, the movie was bad. So that's, I just, oh my god. This movie was pretty bad. I mean I commend them for trying to do something different because, okay, let me explain. Taken 2, okay? So, Taken 2 was pretty bad, okay? Taken 2 is so bad that if you go into Taken 3, you don't even have to see Taken 2. Actually, you don't even have to see Taken 1 unless you want to know kind of what happened between Liam Neeson and finding his daughter in the first one and knowing that he's this badass dude. But you honestly don't need to watch Taken 2 to enjoy Taken 3. However, they tried to kind of bring this new sort of plot into Taken 3 with this pretty serious death in the movie, which doesn't really justify itself. If you know from the trailer, the wife is killed and Liam Neeson is blamed for the murder, and he has to find out who murdered his ex-wife and try to solve this mystery. The way it was kind of portrayed, though, it's oh my god, it's pretty bad. So basically, I think I'm gonna have to get into a little bit of spoilers to continue this review. So if you haven't seen Taken 3 yet, you guys should probably go see Taken 3. So basically, what's going on is Liam Neeson is still there for his daughter, and he's seeing his ex-wife. They're friends, and the only thing that you kind of need to know from Taken 2 is that the ex-wife and her current husband are having problems. That's the only thing that you need to really know that happened in Taken 2. It's kind of justified in this, she has dialogue, we're just going through problems and everything. But that's about it that you need to know. they're having problems, and they've been trying to figure it out in like marriage counseling. And yeah, so the ex-wife goes over to Liam Neeson's house, and they have a moment and they kiss. And Liam Neeson is like, I don't want to do this, like, with you and your new husband, like, and she says something like, why are you so damn honorable? And I'm like, wow, lady, you're kind of a whore. So, and then she ends up leaving, and after that point, Liam Neeson goes to visit his daughter, who has some news for him. Basically, the daughter is pregnant, and, you know, the father is her boyfriend, and it's Hollywood. They have to add some type of subplot into these movies now, but it just never plays into the movie whatsoever, except for, you know, a bit of humor. I mean, I guess one could say that, okay, she is pregnant because, like, you know, Liam Neeson has to have, like, an excuse to save her, but he already has an excuse to save her in the movie. He saved her in the first one, and, you know, if he doesn't save her now, like, you know, all of that stuff in the first movie would have been for nothing. And also because it's his daughter. So you already have a good enough reason why you need to save this individual. You don't have to make her pregnant. I feel like the only reason why they did that was just for humor, because like when they're talking at like a diner, you know, it's kind of like, you know, there's giggles, like she's like, she sees like a child, right? And she's like, oh, maybe I don't want to talk about this yet. Dad, I need your advice. I'm thinking about getting a puppy. And the dad's like, well, a puppy's a lot of responsibility. You know, it's like taking care of a child. And like, you know, of course, there are laughs in the theater. So I feel like that was just added in there for a little bit of humor. And, you know, maybe bring the suspense of like, you know, he has to save his daughter because like not only is she his daughter, but, you know, because she's pregnant. But it never really plays into the movie whatsoever. Like, it really doesn't. So after that, Liam Neeson gets a text from who he thinks is his ex-wife from, you know, her phone, saying like, hey, come to your apartment, bring some bagels. And so he gets the bagels and he goes into his house, and he goes inside, he like, it's a little weird, it's too quiet. And he looks down, and there's a knife on the ground. And what does the most badass person in the world, Liam Neeson, do? What does the smartest, probably most strategic person on the planet do? He picks up this bloody knife. He picks up this bloody knife that could possibly have murdered someone. You have put your fingerprints on a murder weapon, Liam Neeson. You obviously could see that it was a bloody knife on the ground, yet you pick it up. What is wrong with you? And after picking up this knife, clearly seeing that it is a bloody knife, he looks over, and his ex-wife is dead on the bed. Now, this is supposed to be a pretty dramatic, sad scene, but it really isn't, because the last time that we saw this character was when she was being a whore. And it just didn't really bring that much emotion to me. It brought a little bit of emotion to me because, you know, Liam Neeson felt bad, but feeling sorry for the dead individual really just, you know, it didn't... I didn't feel anything for this individual because, you know, she was a whore in the beginning of the movie, and that was the last time that we saw her. So, anyways, the cops come out of nowhere. Apparently the neighbors called 911 because they heard a scream. And they try to arrest Liam Neeson, and obviously he escapes, like in the trailer. And this is where I thought the movie was going to get good, but this was actually the part where the movie suffered. The action sequences in this movie suck so much. I could do more editing in this movie than they did. So basically, okay, here's how editing works, okay? So if I were to do a motion, let me give you an example of like what a good like sequence could be. that was an example of a good sequence in a movie. I've had my practice. I make videos all the time for my skit channel. Now, here is an example of what it was like watching a sequence in Taken 3. So basically, he is being chased by the cops. It's supposed to be this pretty big action sequence, and the editing just sucks. It's just image after image after image after image of motion, and it just doesn't blend in together at all. It's the crappy. Also, it doesn't help that the camera is shaking whatsoever, and it's just poorly edited. I could have done a better job with this. It's just one of the reasons why the Taken series is so good is because of the action sequences. Taken 1 had really good action sequences because Liam Neeson is supposed to be this, like, badass, And it's when he's in an action sequence, I can't really tell what's going on because one, the camera is shaking, and that's not really a problem with some movies. I mean, for some people it is, but I get by, especially with the Bourne movies. Like, I can see what's going on, but when it's edited so badly, like, from motion after motion, like, clip, 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 I can't tell what's going on, okay? So, and there's talks about it Taken 4, so if you're gonna make it Taken 4, you definitely need to get a better editor. And that's another problem that I have with this movie. This movie definitely raises the question of what's in a name. People went to go see this movie because it was Taken. They didn't learn their lesson from Taken 2, so they went to go see Taken 3. And it has nothing, this movie really has nothing to do with the Taken series whatsoever. Nobody is taken. You really don't have to, like I said, you don't have to watch the second movie to enjoy this, but you really don't even have to watch the first movie at all either. Like, oh my gosh, it's just so stupid. Like, ah. So anyways, there's this detective in the movie, it's the black guy, and he is trying to figure out, like, who murdered Liam Neeson's ex-wife. And he's at the scene of the crime, and, he's asking questions, he's looking at the evidence, and he comes across a bag of bagels, okay? And what does he do with these bag of bagels, you may ask? He eats them. He eats evidence at a crime scene in front of all these police officers. There's even a scene in the movie where Liam Neeson is talking to his daughter, and he is like, Kim, be very careful because this detective is very smart. And I honestly chuckled when he said that. If you are a smart detective, why would you eat evidence at a crime scene? I'm pretty sure that's a felony. You could go to jail for that. Like, or at least get fired or something. Like, really? So anyways, Liam Neeson is kind of like trying to figure out, like, this murder, and using the GPS from his wife's car. He goes to a gas station, looks up surveillance footage, and saw that she was in fact kidnapped. I guess you could say she was kind of taken, I guess. I don't know. Like, does it really matter at this point? This movie still sucks. And at this point, he gets arrested, and he breaks free from the cops. And then a bunch of Russian dudes ambush his car. Now, it's just so random. He's like driving like randomly, like in the desert, right? It's never really explained, or maybe it was. It was like explained a little bit, like to a minor extent. And these Russian dudes just crash into his car, and it explodes, and he's like hiding behind a rock or something. It's explained later in the movie. And if this scene were to have never have happened in the movie, he would have never found out who was kind of responsible for his ex-wife's murder. Because if those Russian guys didn't crash into him, he probably would have just been driving in the desert throughout this whole movie. So if they didn't crash into him, he probably would not have even solved the mystery of this movie. So anyways, he confronts one of the Russian dudes, and this leads him back to his ex-wife's current husband. And this is another thing. Okay, so in the beginning of the movie, the husband visits Liam Neeson, tell him to stay away from his wife. Okay, this is big foreshadowing at its finest, because after watching this scene, you kind of know that okay, he's the one who has done all of this. Okay, you can't really. And another thing that kind of pisses me off is the guy, the husband, Stuart. This isn't even the same guy from Taken 1, okay? It's a different actor. Like, I don't even remember the guy from Taken 1 to be as menacing as this guy in Taken 3. I feel like they needed to recast Stuart in order for him to be more menacing and more of a threat in this movie. So basically, Stuart is the guy that, like, killed his ex-wife, but in kind of like the middle of the movie, he tells them like, no, this Russian dude, killed her because like, I didn't pay them back, and like I told them about you, and they are basically coming after you because I told them about you. That doesn't make any sense. So they're basically doing you a favor. They're doing him a favor. They're doing the guy that owes them money a favor by killing Liam Neeson, who probably would go and kill the husband because he knows that he is responsible for the ex-wife's death because he didn't pay this mob money. That's why this movie is suffering, because there are so many plot holes in this that just don't make any sense whatsoever. And then during the movie, like, they're going back and forth. Like, Liam Neeson kills the Russian dude, and the Russian dude's like, oh no, it's like the husband's fault. It's just, but yeah. And then the husband, for some odd reason, like, kidnaps the daughter. I guess, because he's not entirely aware that, okay, if you kidnap this daughter, obviously Liam Neeson is going to come after you. So, why do that? Seriously. And so Liam Neeson comes after the husband to get his daughter back. And and after all this commotion, the guy's arrested and Liam Neeson's name is cleared. And the part that really pisses me off is Liam Neeson at the end is talking to the detective guy, and he's like, I know it wasn't you all along. He's like, what man would bring bagels to his wife right before he's going to murder her? So, if you knew it wasn't him, why did you spend most of your time trying to find this individual, even though you knew it wasn't him, when you could have been spending most of the time trying to solve the murder of this woman? Also in the movie, this detective, right, he reads Liam Neeson's file and he learns that, he was in, the military or some crap like that, I don't know. Basically, he learns that he is a pretty dangerous person. And in the movie, he's like, at the time when like Liam Neeson is like arrested, the cops are like, "Hey, we got Liam Neeson. we're gonna get promoted or something." And he's like, "Stop the car right now! Stop the car!" And he's freaking out because like us as the audience know like Liam Neeson's pretty dangerous and everything, but this detective hasn't ever met Liam Neeson before. All he did was just read documents saying he was in the military. He doesn't know him as a human being. So for him to be freaking out over this, he should be happy that the cops arrested this guy. But he can't know what we know. We're the audience. We know, but like the guy's never met Liam Neeson. So for him to be freaking out about his potential is absurd, because he's never met Liam Neeson, so it just doesn't make any sense. He acts like he knows this individual, and he knows every trick he's gonna pull. Like even in the movie, he's like, one of the cops is like, "Do you want to trace the phone call?" And he's like, "I don't even want to bother. It's Liam Neeson." And it's like, you just knew about this guy today. Why? Like, you act like you know everything about him. So like, I feel as though you should track the phone. At least you should try as a cop to
you know, track down this suspect and everything. For a smart detective that Liam Neeson claims he is, he's not doing his job. So yeah, guys, that's what I thought of Taken 3. Mind you, this movie won #1 at the box office this weekend, and that really does answer the question of what is in a name. Because this movie probably could have been titled something different, the characters' names could have been changed, and this movie really answers the question of what is in a name. Because if you put Taken in any Liam Neeson movie, people will probably go and see it. Because let's face it, every movie that Liam Neeson does is pretty much him playing the same character with the same abilities, and it's, you know, it doesn't do really that good. But if you put Taken in the title, people will probably go see it. And this movie answered the question, are people going to see Taken if Taken is in the title? And that question is yes. Basically, Taken is the Transformers of spy thriller action movies. If you put Taken in the title, people will go and see it. So yeah, guys, thank you for checking out my review of Taken 3. Comment down below what you thought of the movie. Comment down below what you thought of the review. Like the video, share it if you liked it, and please subscribe. Thank you guys so much. I am Corbin Stuckey, and this is Pixel Talk.